Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming today. So in the next 20 minutes, I was asked to share the UCLA experience on how we integrated digital in the pre-doctoral curriculum. Before I start, I really want to thank the ACP for letting UCLA to be part of the pilot program. It was very timely because at that time we were just about to go into accreditation. So a lot of the outcome measurements and competency structures were really helpful for us to incorporate into our teaching objectives, and as we move forward, how to incorporate more digital. And also thank Henry Schein once we started implementing, because we didn't know that we would get such a great partner in terms of helping with buying the right equipment, and then the technical support to work with some of the manufacturers, which sometimes are difficult to work with. But working through Henry Schein, because they have such a great leverage, the manufacturers actually respond to us pretty timely. And that was helpful in getting an implementation very, very quickly. So I'm just going to go on and talk about UCLA. So also at that time, right after accreditation, UCLA identified some key strategic objectives that we have to accomplish. One of them was the digital transformation of the entire curriculum. So this was something that isn't the dean's thing only. It wasn't just my thing. It really was, after many faculty retreats I presented on this topic several years ago, slowly people begin to get the buy-in, and finally it was a school-wide strategy to actually change the entire curriculum to integrate all things digital. Another thing that's really important was this positive organizational culture that applies not just at UCLA, but also around our community, that we would actually go out into the local community to provide better dental care. And as you know, faculty calibration is difficult already in the school. Imagine when the faculty that's covering the community clinics are not from the school. And so digital dentistry to us was a way to ensure quality compliance, that the faculty and the students away from UCLA were able to have the same preparations, and we could actually check everything that they're doing in the clinic outside. So this is where we're going to. But we'll start with just digital transformation. Okay? As Jerry said, UCLA didn't have any shortage of digital equipment. I'll show you that in a minute. We actually have, I would believe, world-class digital infrastructure in 3 programs: prosthodontics, orthodontics, and radiology. And you can imagine that this is how these 3 programs work closely together in advanced workflow, orthodontic surgery in craniofacial and congenital development cases, also in orthodontic cases, and complex prosthodontics with advanced reconstruction, and then of course maxillofacial prosthetics, where we have several leaders in that area working with digital. So in these 3 areas, to be good at this, we by default had no choice but to have a lot of equipment. So we had a lot, and you'll see that in a minute. We actually have a lot of R&D. We have a very nice research center, the Weintraub Center, where we are developing customized bioinks for our own use. So we don't just have to buy inks from manufacturers. We can synthesize. We have several polymer chemists on staff. We can make any ink we want. Okay? We also recently received a NIH-funded 5-year combined program for prosthodontics PhD, so that people that want to do a PhD while they're doing a specialty program will be able to be funded fully through this program. And the emphasis in the PhD is mostly on digital dentistry. So the curriculum that we are going to describe is not this. This is advanced graduate education. The problem was that we really didn't have much for the pre-docs. So this is all for postgraduate. 18 different scanners, 7 mills, from chair-side mills to lab mills, printers that cost $1,000 to printers that cost close to $500,000, design software for dental and engineering, because we have engineers on staff. So this is really quite a curriculum change for the graduate programs. But we had some problems. We have 3 other graduate programs, endo, pedo, and restorative, that don't really have much digital at all. Our AEGD and GPR did very little, right? And even within the big 3, the digital integration isn't there. So if we were to do a case together, it was, here's a jump drive. Here's the case that we designed. Go ahead and do something with this. So the software really wasn't integrated. We didn't have a good way to transfer files from one graduate program to the other. Also, in the pre-doc program, even though we had a bunch of functional CEREC systems, they really weren't used much. And I think that that's the story you hear a lot, is that a lot of programs have CERECs or these milling systems, but because of faculty calibration, only a small fraction of the faculty are willing to supervise these cases in the pre-doc clinic. So we want to solve all these problems when we undergo this digital transformation. The other issue, as Jerry said, is the so-called black box syndrome. You know, when you go to a show now, you see so many digital things, you think that's the solution. You don't have to learn dentistry anymore. Just take a burr, make some cuts, scan it, and something's gonna hide it right away. No one's gonna see this, right? Well, it turns out that digital dentistry is garbage in, garbage out, except much faster. So you make your mistakes much faster. And the things that fail will still fail. There's no hiding, right? The true test is really in the mouth. So what we want, so I think that digital dentistry is actually really good because we teach both analog and digital, and then we highlight what are we not teaching and what is assumed by the computer programs. And why are these things important? So it's really a fun way of teaching dentistry because, you know, after a while, I've been teaching for 20 years now. This whole digital transformation is the one thing that gets faculty and students really excited. They come early, they get ready, they want to start playing, and they want to learn what's going on. We haven't seen anything like that in terms of getting people interested in learning. Teachers want to come, they want to learn this stuff too. So it's really everybody learning together, which is really a nice educational environment. The other problem we had was, although we have a lot of PhD scientists in our programs, we have about 6 in my department, double degree guys, and you know, Ortho has a bunch. We actually don't ever work together on anything that's one purpose. So with the digital revolution, we can have a theme where we can work together to develop these digital technologies together so that we can focus the innovations toward something that is synchronized with the university mission. Another issue we saw was poor economy of scale. You know, maybe aesthetic dentistry wants to buy a scanner, and then pedo wants to buy a scanner, right? And AEGD wants to buy a scanner. And each one of them are paying whatever negotiated price they can get. But when we buy as one university, one system, we're buying a whole bunch, we get much cheaper prices, much better support, better warranties, and actually much better options. So the economy of scale is immediate when you first buy, but the economy of scale is actually more important in long-term support when you buy as a big user group. So we thought that this was something important that we want to solve, and to do that, actually, we created an entire new academic unit in the School of Dentistry. So in the organizational chart, we actually created a whole new thing called Innovative Digital Dentistry System, and the objective is to improve teaching, innovate the way we teach, not just put in the curriculum, which is amazing. The ACP curriculum is wonderful, but help us to teach more innovatively and using digital to really lower the cost of care by our clinics so that we can reach more patients, not just at Westwood, but to local communities. So patients that are in the underserved local communities. But to do that, we need to upgrade our IT infrastructure, which I'll get into later on. And eventually, we want to work with our industry and academic partners to create a digital innovations center that can develop novel tools and materials for digital dentistry, okay? So these are some of the components in the, UCLA. Digital Center. I'm not going to talk about all of them. Today I'm going to talk about just the pre-doc curriculum. But an important part of the curriculum of the center is actually to innovate, to develop new tools, new algorithms, new software, and new materials to enhance digital dentistry and also work with our medical school colleagues so that they can improve their care. So this is something that we're very proud of being accomplished. I'm just going to focus mostly on pre-doc, and as a senior faculty, I basically go to meetings and answer emails and raise funds to do stuff. These are the people that actually make things work. Some of you may recognize Kumar Shah, who's a fellow of the ACP. But these are all really, really exciting faculty. Each one of them play a key role in integrating the curriculum into the pre-doc system. So I'm just going to talk about the preclinical training only. Okay. A key thing that we want to teach at this point is we insist at UCLA that students that graduate can do dentistry both old analog way and digital way. There's a problem with that. There's only limited time in the curriculum, and people are really stressed out already with what we were teaching. So squeezing in digital has to be done in a very efficient way. So that as we teach analog, we just squeeze in the digital is not good enough. You actually have to teach it in a way that they understand which parts are being captured in analog, which parts are not being captured in digital. Okay? So we went out and getting 17 new scanners just for the pre-doc program. Okay, so this is just for pre-doc's use. And what's nice about it is that it's supposed to be easy. Okay? Now, if I take 10 of you guys and have you scan yourself like that, I'll bet maybe one of you will be able to scan that quickly. Okay? But it's possible. And actually, students are much better at it than the faculty. And they love this thing. We had some generous donations from Henry Schein, where we had some milling machines that are incorporated into the teaching lab so that the students can actually now mill restorations out and actually test the fit. All right? And then we have a full-blown CAD software suite just for the pre-docs. As you guys know, the 3-shape softwares are pretty good and more than good enough for most pre-doctoral needs. We have been using ExoCAD's more advanced CAD softwares. So this really wasn't something that we had in our program. We actually had to get something that's a little bit more for students and general dentists. And so the entire 3-shape CAD software suite is developing quickly, and we're able to do full restorative, implants, ortho, and smile design. Okay? And when we incorporate these things, the number one thing I tell all the course directors is focus on design rationale. Don't think about clicking, which menu to click, which item to click, but focus on why, not how. Okay? And then prepare students for specialty training if that's what they want to do. So as you know, the compare software is something that is really powerful. We're able to basically look at a prep, compare a prep that the student makes to a prep that the faculty makes, and give them, as Jerry said, very objective, real-time, 7 days, 24-hour feedback in the lab without faculty. Okay? And so these are the timelines of our preclinical rollout. We start with anatomy. We go into direct restorations, all right? And then indirect. These are the system in restorative, and I'll go into the other classes in a minute. All right. So this is anatomy and morphology. All you remember the P.K. Thomas wax-ups? So we still teach that. and in fact, students now scan the wax-up and compare it with an ideal wax-up. So they can tell exactly where they are short, where they're off, and it's very non-subjective, all right? And they can do this anytime they want. So this is D14. First year dental student, first quarter, they're doing this already. And they know how to scan. And then in second quarter, winter quarter, they're learning the prep, all right, comparing master to student. And they can, again, very non-subjectively tell themselves where they need to change before they even talk to the doctors, all right? So now the faculty are excited because all they have to do is focus on teaching techniques and why we want to do things, not how, and not telling them what's wrong, okay? Morphology and occlusion, here we have the students scan themselves or scan each other in centric, MIP, lateral, and protrusion, and then we save these scans and use them for occlusal analysis later in occlusion class. So they can actually understand how teeth touch in a much more intimate way than just mounting models and moving an articulate around. This is actually looking in their own teeth. Okay? So this is something that they're really excited on because they're scanning live human patients. And then in indirect restorations, we're basically doing the same thing with compare, where they can prep, they can look at the reduction, they can look at measure the angle of convergence. Obviously, this one fails, all right? And monitor everything and keep track of overcuts and undercuts, over reductions. And the nice thing is that what we add to the student kit are just freeware that they can download off the internet. So it costs them nothing to actually capture these files. They can convert STLs from the scanner and generate PDF 3D files for free. They can keep track of all these things on their own flash drive if they don't already have one, but most phones can actually capture all these things very well. Okay, so that's restorative. We actually are very excited that we are adding digital orthodontics, and we'll actually offer this curriculum to the ACP, because ortho is not yet a popular topic. But we're certainly going to add smile design, case selection. Very important is when to refer. When can you do a Invisalign-like case, and when do you need an orthodontist to do wires and brackets? Simple bone analysis and space analysis already existing in many digital software. How to manage and when to manage vertical bite openings. So you can see that although digital makes it easy to do, the curriculum allows us to help train students on thinking when to do what, which is really important, okay? So they can learn how to treat normal bite and different types of cross bites and open bites. And then, of course, fabricate aligners by printing models and then doing the vacuum forms, all the standard stuff. Digital dentures, we've been using digital already in digital dentures where we actually train them how to look at bilateral, balance, occlusion, and all the other things that are necessary. Border molding, functional impressions are something they still have to know because as of today, scanners still cannot do good border molding impressions. So we still have to learn all these basic fundamentals of jar records, and eventually we'd like to use this technique to go into the UCLA clinics and community clinics, all right? Dental implants, same thing. Easy to actually make a guide to guide the implant, but all the thinking that goes into it are incorporated into the curriculum. The ACP curriculum has a really nice section on this, and there are several different versions of this, so you can just follow those, all right? And we certainly did. So this is the timeline of the courses that are now currently undergoing changes at UCLA, with the green dots meaning digital transformation in those courses. So we're well on our way to finishing everything, okay? Next step really quickly is more IT infrastructure. We need this to actually get to where we want to go. We need to buy a lot more CAD computer stations so that every single dental chair will be CAD ready and be able to talk to any of these scanners and run any of these softwares. We're going to hire a digital lab manager and actually incorporate virtual reality and mixed reality simulators into our curriculum before D1, okay? More mills and printers, that's why I'm here at IDS. So it's fun times, all right? I think the key to success really for us at UCLA, you can see this is a very expensive change for us. Obviously support from the dean, support from the entire school was important, but I think access to the ACP pilot curriculum was huge, especially the budget part, because the budget will tell you how the schools actually save money by going digital in the clinic. And I thought that that was a compelling message that I was able to use to get UCLA to make this move. Another thing was to identify super motivated faculty who were able to put aside their normal teaching load and shift it to a digital. And so this was a key to success that I thought. And then of course, having efficient admin and having really amazing head starts in 3 departments that already work together closely, but maybe just not digital. So I'd like to thank you for your attention.